Conspiracy theories. Google defines a conspiracy theory as a belief that some sort of influential organization is responsible for a particular event or phenomenon. Personally, I believe that definition can be much more simpler, and I'll explain why later. But based on that definition, most conspiracy theories aren't that far-fetched. Conspiracies happen all the time, especially in the world of business and politics. But do you know what's the worst thing about conspiracy theories? It's usually the conspiracy theorists trying to expose the conspiracy. Sometimes the conspiracy theorist does more to discredit a conspiracy theory than the evidence that actually debunks the conspiracy theory. And it's mostly because of their approach, the way they go about trying to expose the conspiracy theory. Now, I don't want to get too much into conspiracy theories, but I do want to focus on conspiracy theorists. What makes them tick? What's their motivation? How have they come to believe the conspiracy theories they believe in? And what do they hope to accomplish? Hi guys, I of course am the legendary SMYLZ, and this is Conspiracy Theorists, according to SMYLZ. Part 1. Who are conspiracy theorists? When most people think of conspiracy theorists, they probably think of a person that's obsessed with trying to get the general public to believe that there's some sort of plot or scheme or a hoax orchestrated by some sort of secret organization that is apocalyptically catastrophic to the rest of society. And it's that perception of conspiracy theorists, the perception that they believe the wildest conspiracy theories and make the most illogical leaps in reasoning, that makes it harder for people who don't operate in that conspiracy theory bubble to believe some of the more reasonable conspiracy theories to be true. In reality, conspiracies are more common than people think, and most conspiracy theorists aren't what most people perceive them to be. In fact, most real conspiracy theorists aren't even aware that they're conspiracy theorists. And personally, that's my first step in categorizing conspiracy theorists. I break them up into two major categories. Those who are unaware that they're conspiracy theorists because of what they perceive a conspiracy theorist to be, and those who are self-proclaimed conspiracy theorists who openly admit that they dabble in that conspiracy theory bubble of what a conspiracy theorist is perceived to be by the general public. I separate conspiracy theorists into those two categories because there's a large gap between what a conspiracy theorist actually is and what people perceive a conspiracy theorist to be. And I think it's important to make that distinction to make it easier to assess the credibility of a conspiracy theorist when encountering one. Remember when I said at the beginning of this video that the Google definition of a conspiracy theorist can be a lot more simpler than how they define it? And remember when I said that conspiracies are a lot more common than what people think? Here's why. Merriam-Webster defines the word conspiracy as a secret agreement among several people, usually involving treason or great treachery. Google defines conspiracy as a secret plan by a group to do something unlawful or harmful. So by that definition, a conspiracy doesn't have to be anything complicated or elaborate or intricate or complex. A conspiracy can be very simple and very mundane. And conspirators, they don't have to be a structured organization or people of wealth or power. They could just be some regular ass people. The only criteria needed for something to be a conspiracy is it has to involve more than one person, multiple people, who agreed to execute a plan in secret, and that plan is designed to fuck over somebody, or fuck over a group of people, or is criminal in nature. That's it. That's all you need to execute a conspiracy. A conspiracy can be as simple as two employees planning to steal money from their job's register after closing hours. It involves multiple people, two employees. They agree to a secret plan, which is stealing money out of the register after closing hours, and that plan fucks over their boss. That's a conspiracy. Here's another example. There's a person in a relationship, and that person is having an affair with somebody else who is aware that they are in a relationship. You have the two people, multiple people, who secretly agree to do something treacherous to someone else that's not in the know. That's all you need for something to be a conspiracy. Notice that in both of those examples, the conspiracies weren't complicated. One involved stealing money from a register, the other involved infidelity. And the conspirators involved don't have to be people of power or wealth. They don't even have to be well organized. The thieves could be two minimum wage employees, and the adulterers can live in a trailer park. No blood sacrifice necessary. Now that you see how simple it is for something to be a conspiracy, if you think back and you lived an eventful or rebellious life, you'd probably find that you've been involved in some conspiracies. I know I have. You and a few of your classmates probably played a heinous prank on that teacher that you hated on the last day of school. Congratulations, you were a part of a conspiracy. You and your co-workers probably set up that unproductive, disruptive, smelly co-worker up to get fired because you didn't like him. Congratulations, you were a part of a conspiracy. Hopefully by now, you see where I'm going with this. Now that we understand how simple it is for something to be considered a conspiracy, we can now understand how simple it is for a person to be a conspiracy theorist. I just gave you some examples of some very simple conspiracies. Employees stealing money from a register, and a person in a relationship cheating on their partner. Now imagine you're a boss, and every day you check your paperwork, the numbers aren't adding up. And based on the discrepancies, you can tell that the errors are internal, not external. The only way these mistakes can be made is if the manager grossly miscalculated something, or if some employees were stealing from you. The moment that boss starts to suspect that his employees are stealing from him, that's the moment the boss becomes a conspiracy theorist. The person in a relationship starts to see that their partner is acting strangely. Their habits have changed. Their patterns have changed. They seem more distant than usual. Something's different. The moment that person in a relationship starts to suspect that their partner is cheating on them, that's the moment that person becomes a conspiracy theorist. In those two examples, neither the boss nor the person in a relationship getting cheated on would probably consider themselves to be a conspiracy theorist based on what their perception of a conspiracy theorist is. But if they believe that multiple people have secretly plotted against them, they are, by definition, conspiracy theorists. Now, there's a big difference between the category of people who are unaware that they're conspiracy theorists and those who are self-proclaimed conspiracy theorists. But for me, the one criteria that they both have to share to be considered conspiracy theorists is they cannot readily prove that the conspiracy theory they believe in is true. Now, if they have the ability and the evidence to prove their conspiracy theory, then it's no longer a theory. It's an exposed conspiracy. Now I'm wondering if we're using the term theory wrong in this context. Like, if they can't prove the conspiracy, shouldn't they be called conspiracy hypothesizers? Now I just stick with conspiracy theorists, that way I don't confuse anybody or myself. The reason I point out how simple it is for something to be a conspiracy and how simple it is for someone to be considered a conspiracy theorist is because I want the general public to be more open-minded when receiving conspiracy theories and not be so quick to brush them off when presented with one just because of the misconception that conspiracy theorists are supposed to have these far-fetched conspiracy theories that are illogically elaborate. Conspiracies involving government corruption or corporate espionage or sabotage are very real and very common. And people who aren't even self-proclaimed conspiracy theorists or dwell in that conspiracy theory bubble may very well pick up on these types of conspiracies. And they may want to expose them or share. So hear them out. Now, about these self-proclaimed conspiracy theorists. Self-proclaimed conspiracy theorists are the conspiracy theorists that are self-aware that they operate within the conspiracy theory bubble. They are aware that the vast majority of the general population will have a difficult time believing the conspiracy theories that they try to peddle. Or they believe that the vast majority of the population are blind to the conspiracies committed against them. I have mixed feelings about self-proclaimed conspiracy theorists because self-proclaimed conspiracy theorists come in a mixed bag. So much so that I don't even think they consider themselves to be one solid conspiracy theorist community. On one extreme, you have the more logical-based self-proclaimed conspiracy theorists. The kind that when you hear their conspiracy theory and you see where they got their information from, you can follow their thought process. You can understand how they connected the dots they connected that led them into believing the conspiracy theory. On the other extreme, you have the more illogical based self-proclaimed conspiracy theorists. The kind that when you hear their conspiracy theory and you see where they got their information from, it's hard to follow their logic. And there's major gaps in their reasoning as to how they connected certain dots. Like, you don't know how they connected one thing to the other. It's like you're just pulling shit out their ass. And the logical-based conspiracy theorists understand that it's the illogical-based conspiracy theorists that ruins the public perception of a conspiracy theorist and causes a loss in credibility in all their conspiracy theories. But whether it's the illogical-based conspiracy theorists or the illogical-based conspiracy theorists or somewhere in between the spectrum, the one thing that they all have in common is that they want you, or the general public, or whoever they're conversing with, to believe the conspiracy theories they're trying to peddle. Being that there are so many different types of conspiracy theories, from ones involving government corruption to secret societies or occult rituals or extraterrestrial encounters or paranormal activity, it only stands to reason that there are different types of conspiracy theorists. And since there are different types of conspiracy theorists, it only stands to reason that maybe not all of them are delusional. Some of them may be onto something when it comes to their conspiracy theories. But how can you tell? In my next video, Conspiracy Theorists According to SMYLZ, Part 2, I'm going to break down how I personally assess the credibility of a conspiracy theorist. Join me for that. I, of course, am the legendary SMYLZ, and this has been the first part of conspiracy theorists, according to SMYLZ.